Friends, this is the introductory video from the inclusion team of our church. Several members a couple of months ago came to the leadership of our church, both lay and clergy, and asked if we might form an inclusion ministry or team to look at how we might have a conversation, a congregation-wide conversation around the affirmation of all people as created the image of God, a welcome, affirmation, and celebration of all people's gifts. And the conversation that we hope to have is meant to be broadly inclusive, but it will also have an emphasis on the LGBTQ community. This conversation may include writing as a congregation a covenant, that is an agreement made between two people and before God, a covenant that states who we are called to be as a welcoming and affirming community. And if agreed upon, that covenant might be submitted to the United Church of Christ, our denomination, for us to be included as an open and affirming congregation. And friends, I think it's time that we have this conversation. And you might say, why? And there are a couple of reasons. The first is polity. We're a congregational church, and members of our church came and said, we think the congregation should have this conversation. And we agree. And as a congregational church, we, as faithfully as we can, imperfectly, yes, together we discern who we feel God is calling us to be. And so part of this process and conversation is discernment. And part of that may be the formation of that covenant, stating who we are and what we believe. I also believe it's time to have this conversation, not because we haven't been welcoming and inclusive. We have been. However, this conversation might clarify for us who we feel we are called to be. It might also be a witness to our communities, our celebration of God's love for everyone, created in God's image, just as they are. I think the time is right, friends, to have what might not always be an easy conversation, but it could be a faithful one, a holy one. And I hope this conversation will be and help us faithfully discern who we are called to be as a family of faith. We won't always have the same perspective. We are, as our motto says, diverse in thought, but united in Christ. But let us engage in these conversations with love as our core principle, and with grace and kindness on our lips, and strive to be a welcoming, affirming, and inclusive community that loves one another as Christ has loved us. I look forward to hearing from you and to be in conversation with you.